Put it on snooze. I'll do it in a second, man. Let me finish this game. Alright, I will make the freaking video. Jeez. Hi, the sooner I get this done, the sooner I can go back over there and play Kingdom Hearts 3. Intro guy, let's get into it.
Skip it up and that up.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy True Inferno. Today's date is Wednesday, January the 30th. And normally this would be the video where I would be out and about raiding for Palkia. But here's what's going on in the northeast of the United States. Right now it's like -7 degrees. And if you were to combine that temperature with the high winds, it would feel like -31 degrees outside. I crap you not. So there is no way that I'm going out there in those conditions. In fact, that's why I'm bundled up like this, so I can stay warm and things of that nature. So instead, what I'm going to do is bring back a segment I only revealed to you guys one time that was late last year. I think like October, September, somewhere along those lines. And that is back to basics. So remember, a while back, a friend of mine asked me which Pokemon they should keep and which ones they should transfer. I answered part of that question by talking about IVs and how to identify a Pokemon IVs. Now, what I'm going to do is tell you guys which Pokemon are useful in terms of raiding. Because when you're collecting Pokemon, if you're not collecting Pokemon because it's shiny, because it's lucky, because it's got an exclusive move, or it's a legacy move, or it's, you know, sentimental for you, then you only collecting Pokemon because of raiding purposes. Now, obviously, when it comes to battle and PvP, this is not related to that. This is solely towards raiding. So right here, I got my tablet here, and I'm gonna scroll through every type that is in the game, and I'm gonna name off some Pokemon that are relevant and rated, which we call MetaRelevant. So we're gonna start off with the fire type. Now, the fire type, I will let you know, as a whole, is not exactly MetaRelevant when it comes to rating. To some degree it is, but for the most part it's not. But if you had to pick a fire type Pokemon for rating, you're looking at Moltres and Entei. Really, Entei first, then Moltres is close second. Those are your two best bets. After that, then you're looking at Flareon and Charizard. So yeah, those are the ones. And maybe Magmortar, I don't know about that one. That's probably your honorable mention right there. Another honorable mention maybe is Ho-Oh. But the deal with Ho-Oh is like tanky as heck. The attacks aren't up there because it's all over the place with the attacks. So, you know, it's a flying type. It got, you know, some fire type moves, and it got Solar Beam, which is a grass type. So it's all over the place with the attacks. So when it comes to fire type Pokemon, you're looking for Entei, Moltres are your top two, followed by Flareon and Charizard are your next two. All right, let's move on from the fire types down to the water types. Now this is the opposite. Water types are really MetaRelevant in the game, but unlike fire types where we could just name off two that are really useful, there's only one that's really useful, and that is Kyogre. Kyogre, without question, is the best water type Pokemon to use when it comes to raiding. Not only does it have good attacks, but it is also tanky as hell, so it can take a lot of damage. So that's why it's the #1 water type Pokemon. After that, you're looking at Gyarados. With the waterfall move, Gyarados have way gone up the ranks and past Vaporeon, and is now the second best water type Pokemon in the game. And then of course, like I said, you got Vaporeon at that #3 spot. So again, Kyogre would be the one you want to use the most. Now let's move on down from the water types Pokemon all the way down to the grass types. Now the grass types are a step beneath fire types in terms of them being relevant when it comes to rating as a whole. But if you had to pick one, and we used, grass types for Kyogre, but if you had to pick one, then you're looking at Venusaur. Venusaur, without question, is your best bet when it comes to rating in Pokemon Go as a grass type. After that, you're looking at either a regular Exeggutor or an Alolan Exeggutor, assuming that they both know grass type moves like Solar Beam or Frenzy Plant or whatever, something along those lines. And really, it's just those three. Like, yeah, you could make a case for Meganium, Sceptile, maybe, no, not Vileplume. I was thinking Vileplume, but no. Or maybe even Breloom, but that's a stretch as well. But for the most part, Venusaur is your number one option, followed by Exeggutor and Alolan Exeggutor. Those are, I said that. And yeah, those are your top three choices for grass type Pokemon. But as a whole, grass type Pokemon are not exactly relevant when it comes to rating, not much. They are a step below fire types. Now we move on to electric types, and there's really two they should be really focused on: Raikou and Zapdos. So those are your top two options. Raikou more than Zapdos. That is like the best electric type Pokemon in the game. Electivire is up there as well, followed by Jolteon and maybe Ampharos. But really, Raikou and then Zapdos. Those are the two you should really concern yourself with the most. And electric type Pokemon are MetaRelevant, not as much as other types that I'm going to name off, but more so than fire, grass, without question. But not more than water. Not more than water. But let's move on. Psychic types. This one is interesting. Obviously, you could say your number one option is Mewtwo, but the problem with Mewtwo is this. The Quick Attack should be a Psychic type move, but its Charge Attack is either Shadow Ball or Focus Blast, not exactly a Psychic type move. That's why Mewtwo is because it don't know pure Psychic types. You don't want it to know pure Psychic types. Again, the charge move should either be Focus Blast or Shadow Ball. So tossing Mewtwo aside, you're looking at Alakazam and Espeon, and maybe even Exeggutor that knows Psychic type move, not the Alolan one, because that will only know Dragon moves. But I'm talking the regular Exeggutor type move. It does know Psychic type moves. So yeah, that would be up there as well. So again, tossing Mewtwo aside, you're looking at Alakazam, Espeon, and Exeggutor that knows Psychic moves. There are other Psychic types out there like Deoxys, but nah. I don't know about regular form, and definitely not attack form. Even though its attack points are through the roof and the best in the game, but because of its defense, which is like amongst the worst, I wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend that. So let's move on to the next category, which is the ground types. So the ground types, they somewhat meta-relevant, more so than grass, slightly more than fire, but not as much as water, in my opinion. But if you had to pick a ground type, you're looking at Groudon, obviously. Golem would be your second choice. Rhyperion would be your third choice, and then Rhydon would be your fourth choice. So yeah, those are your top four. Maybe Donphan as a fifth, but really it's Groudon and Golem and Rhyperion as your top three. And then if you don't have a Rhyperion and you need to get another one, Rhydon will be your next best bet. So there you go with that. Now let's move on down to the poison types. And we're not going to talk about that at all because there's no pure poison types in the game. There are other Pokemon that know poison type moves, but again, none of the pure poison type Pokemon like Weezing or Grimers or Mux are meta-relevant. None of them. So we're going to move on from the poison types and go on down to the fighting types. Now, the fighting types have arguably the best meta-relevant Pokemon in the game. One of them, in my opinion. Not the best, in my opinion, but the best, and that is Machamp. Machamp is so useful when it comes to rating. That is the one that you really got to spend time on and say, okay, what's the range? Like 100% down to 91. You could be flexible and say 100% to 84% IVs in terms of like which ones you should keep. So if you have, like, for example, a 82% Machamp, but the cutoff is 84%, you may want to trash that one, something along those lines. That range could be too big, but it depends on how many good Machamps you have as well. But Machamps, without question, is a meta-relevant Pokemon when it comes to rating, and one that you should really, spend time on and really think about. Now, when it comes to fighting types, when you're dealing with like an Absol or something along those lines, Hariyama would be a good choice. Breloom could be a good choice if you know fighting moves. But really, when it comes to overall rating, tier 5 or EX raids, it's Machamp and nothing else when it comes to fighting type Pokemon, without question. Now let's move on to the next category, which is rock types. And here's where things going to get really good. Like I said, Machamp is one of the most meta-relevant Pokemon in the game. Tyranitar is arguably the most meta-relevant Pokemon in the game. And here's one of the two reasons right here. If you have it, that Smackdown Stone Edge is, without question, the best combo in the game. One of the best combos in the game, if I do say so myself. That's one of the reasons why Tyranitar is meta-relevant. There's another reason. We'll get to that later. Now, after that, you look at that Golem, and then Rhyperion, and then Rhydon. Those are your top 4. You should not be investing in Regirock nor Aggron. So it's really Tyranitar number 1, Golem number 2, Rhyperion number 3, and then maybe Rhydon number 4. Anything else after that? No. Maybe Omastar. But for the most part, those 4 that I named are the ones you should really be investing in. Now let's move on from rock types to bug types. Bug types is not exactly meta relevant unless you have no choice. And in that case, you want Scizor. Scizor would be your top bug type Pokemon without question. After that, it'll be Heracross and then Pinsir. Those are really your top 3 bug type Pokemon that you should be focused on if you have to. But out of the 3, I would probably just keep it at Scizor and leave it at that, because again, there are better options out there aside from bug types when it comes to tier 5 rating and EX rating. So there you go with that. Now let's move on to fairy type, which is interesting because fairy types are going to be useful now with Palkia in the game. So when it comes to fairy types, there's really only 2 you should be using, and that's Gardevoir and Togekiss. Now here's the deal. There is no, at this point in time, there's no fast type fairy move in the game. There's only charge moves, and that is Dazzling Gleam. That's the only fairy type charge move in the game, if I remember this correctly. Dazzling Gleam, both Gardevoir and Togekiss knows it. Now, when it comes to Togekiss, if you can get it to know Hidden Power, the Dragon type move, as a quick attack, and Dazzling Gleam as a charge attack, that is very useful against Pacquiao, because it's also Togekiss is also tanky as heck. So that would be good as well. But when it comes to fairy types, overall fairy types are not exactly meta relevant. They're probably, I'm going to say, 2 steps below grass types. So 2 steps below grass types, 3 steps below fire types. But in this case, they're going to be useful against Pacquiao, or to be specific, Gardevoir and Togekiss. Those 2 would be the only 2 fairy type Pokemon that would be useful against Pacquiao. Moving on to the ghost types, and there's only one. There's only one that is like meta relevant to some degree, and that is Gengar. Gengar, without question, is the only ghost type Pokemon that is meta relevant. Got very good attack stats. Its defense, even though it has gotten better ever since the stat change happened, but it's still not up there. That's why it's a little bit shaky, but it's still meta relevant to some degree. So do not sleep on Gengar. If you have some really good IV Gengars, you probably may need to invest in that. Now, dragon types. Here's where things gonna get very interesting. It is said that the number 1 attacking Pokemon in the game is Rayquaza. Obviously, you got attack form Deoxys, but its defense is so garbage, it's like kicked it out. But Rayquaza is the best, arguably the best attacking Pokemon in the game. So this is the best dragon type to use when it comes to rating. And again, Pacquiao, this is your number 1 option right here. After that is Dragonite. And Dragonite, in my opinion, is a step behind Rayquaza. After that is Palkia itself. And then Salamence. And then maybe Latios and Latias. But really, it's all about Rayquaza, Dragonite, and Salamence. Those 3 are the only 3 you should be concerning yourselves with when it comes to rating, or to be more specific, EX raids and tier 5 raids. Alright? And of course, dragon types are meta relevant without question. Now let's move on to ice types. Ice types are not exactly meta relevant, but if you need to pick an ice type Pokemon, there's really 2. It's Articuno and I believe it's called Revile. So yeah, those are the two that you really need to be focused on and spend time on and do your research on and things of that nature. And in fact, they could be useful against Pacquiao. I could be stretching that, but because Pacquiao is a dragon type, dragon types are weak against ice type. You could use that. I won't recommend it, but you can try and see what happens. But again, ice types, not as a whole, not exactly meta relevant at the moment. Because remember, Mamoswine is coming. And when Mamoswine show up in the game, that would be the best ice type Pokemon in the game. And it could be meta relevant. And it could make ice types as a whole meta relevant. So we have to reserve judgment on that. Flying types? No, nothing there. We just gonna move on from flying types. Let's move on from flying types. Nothing there. Steel types. I would probably say Metagross, but Steel as a whole is not exactly meta relevant. So I would probably say move on from Steel, because I do not recall doing a EX raid or Tier 5 raid where I had to use Metagross. So we're gonna move on from that. Normal types. We're going to move on from that as well. Again, there's nothing in there that is meta relevant at all. So we're going to move on from normal types. And then I believe, no, there should be more actually. Dark types. Here is the other reason why Tyranitar is arguably the most meta relevant Pokemon in the game. It's dark moves. It knows Bite and Crunch. And that is very important, especially against the likes of Deoxys, where you can solo EX Ray in the form of Attack from Deoxys. So your Dark and Crunch Tyranitar is huge as a Dark type Pokemon. If you don't have that, maybe Absol and Houndoom, but without question, Tyranitar with Bite and Crunch is like head over heels over Houndoom and Absol. So yeah, that is your best bet right there without question. And then that's it. Now one more honorable mention I work on there is on the same boat as Ho-Oh, and that's Lugia, because it knows psychic moves and it knows some water type moves as well and flying type. But again, it's just tanky. It's mostly for defense, not necessarily a good attacker, but it is useful when it comes to soloing Machamps. Like there's other options out there, but Lugia that knows psychic type moves is a good choice against Machamp, soloing a Machamp. So there you go with that. And basically those are the Pokemon that you really should be keeping, you know, whether the IVs are 100% or maybe even like what, 84, but it's up to you to set that range for yourself. But again, these Pokemon are the ones you should be keeping, as opposed to like a 96% Raticate or something useless like that. So take this information, combine it with the IV scenario, and that should partially answer your question in terms of what Pokemon you should keep and which one you should transfer. Of course, there are other variables that will determine that, but this will help. So with that said, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, the new Jay Gatsby, aka the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. If you excuse me, I'm going back over there, Kingdom Hearts 3. Alright, now we're done, right? Let's get back to this. After you subscribe to the channel, make sure you click the bell icon so you never miss a new video or a live stream ever again. Thanks, guys.
Living in a world where tomorrow's never promised. Last of a dying breed, ratifying honest. Got me feeling like an onyx. My heart was getting hard till I looked to the sky. Say I'ma leave it to God and embark on this path. Journey of a lifetime. Everybody rhyme, but not a lot I co-sign. Define the mind's capability.